Conflicts of Interest Act. This, like a lot of stuff in the law, is hyper-technical, so I don't want to get too far in the weeds on this one either. But basically, I want you to have your antenna up so that you know when there is a potential of a conflict of interest, and so that you at least know enough to, if you have any doubt in your mind, call me up, call George up, and ask, hey, is this right or not? This might be wrong. I always follow the odor test. If it feels wrong, if it might look wrong on Facebook or the front page of a newspaper, or if it smells wrong, the odor test, it is probably a violation of the Conflicts of Interest Act, COIA. Even if it's technically not a violation of COIA, if it doesn't pass the odor test, it's very likely will get you in trouble in the court of public opinion. And the court of public opinion, a lot of times, can be worse than a court of law. Because you've got to get reelected. And if people don't like the way you're conducting yourself, even though you're conducting yourself legally, that can be the kiss of death politically. A gift is one thing that can get you in trouble. After Governor McDonald a couple of years ago accepted some gifts, General Assembly tightened down on well, the question was whether he accepted gifts or were they just donations from friends. A gift is anything of monetary value. Exceptions are proper to gifts. These are not gifts. Properly reported campaign contributions, anything under $100 in value, food or beverages that you receive while performing official duties as part of a public service. You go to a VML conference. You get food and drinks there. That's not a gift. Travel paid for by the local government in connection with official duties. If the town reimburses you for going to VML or anywhere else for a town business, that's not a gift. Gifts received by relatives or personal friends. This is the biggest loophole of all. Personal friends cannot be an official or an employee of the town, or someone who's seeking to become a party to a contract with the town. But other than that, a personal friend can be just about anybody.
Doug?
Yes, sir.
At the top of that, as council members, as we are elected, we don't fill out. We don't report campaign funds.
No, you don't, but I think on the
Conflict of interest, we
Yeah.
have to report.
Yeah,
But we can receive $10,000 if we're running for mayor or council.
yes,
Does not have to be reported.
no,
We don't have to have signs of oath authorized by.
No.
We can advertise. We don't have to put authorized by.
exactly,
County, they do at that level.
yes. Which is frankly one of the advantages, I think, of keeping things officially nonpartisan. You can be endorsed, which is by a party, which is perfectly fine. But as long as you don't actually run under a party banner, it
Right.
insulates you.
Exactly, it insulates you 100%.
Yes,
And I just wanted to bring that out because I noticed a lot of times council members, when they run, authorized by the candidate or authorized by, then they don't need all that. They don't need to do the campaign, setting up a bank account and reporting. There's nobody to report to.
yeah. One of the things that you have to be wary of, and I think this is the trickiest area of law. I mean, I think most people can kind of know when something looks funny or smells funny, but a personal interest in a transaction is the trickiest area, and it's something I have to look at every time when you get in there. It means a personal interest that a town person, I'm just gonna call it a town person, that can be a town council member, an employee of the town, has in any matter considered by his agency. It's when you or a member of your immediate family has a personal interest in property or a business or a government agency or represents or provides services to an individual or business, is the subject of the transaction, and here's the kicker, may realize a reasonably foreseeable direct or indirect benefit or detriment as a result of the action of the agency considering the transaction. And that means if you have an interest in a piece of property, or your immediate family does, and something the town does, a rezoning, a subdivision, some action, passing an ordinance, it may come back to benefit you monetarily down the future. And a reasonable person could foresee that it would benefit you financially by doing that. You can have a conflict of interest. And this is where it gets tricky, to me.
That's why we call you.
Yes. And I've seen this happen a number of times, both when I was with the county, which I was for many years, and I've been here now quite a number of years. If you have a personal interest in a transaction, you may have to recuse yourself. It depends on the degree. But you always have to make a public, oral, and written disclosure of the personal interest. And if it's such a conflict of interest that you really can't disentangle yourself from it, if it's a direct benefit, if it's your property, that's a direct benefit, or your wife's property, or your husband's property, or your child's property, and it's your child lives in a home with you. You have to disqualify yourself, and that means you can't discuss it with any other town council members, you can't sit in on the meeting, you can't get up on the dais, you have to go into the audience, you can't sit in the closed meetings or anything.
When in doubt, recuse yourself.
When in doubt, recuse yourself. However, if it's an indirect, a potential benefit to you, you can declare your potential personal interest, make the disclosure, and then say, I'm a member of a business or group of 3 or more persons of which that is affected by the transaction, and I'm able to participate in the transaction fairly and objectively and in the public interest, and that's okay. And that's a tricky judgment call. Or if it's something that affects the public generally, even though your personal interest as a member of the public may also be affected by that transaction, then you don't have to recuse yourself. A perfect example is a tax increase or a tax cut. I mean, if you have a tax increase, obviously that's going to impinge on your personal interest. But somebody's got to bite the bullet.